Hi, it's Julie from the PMFRC. Welcome to our fireside chat today. Today we are going to be talking about special needs inclusion programs. For those of you who have been following the PMFRC Facebook page, we are doing our special needs family forum online this year. Like many other things, we are looking at life a little bit differently, and we have decided to go with an online format. So we're going to be talking about that and how you can get involved and how you can access all of that content. As we go through, you are going to get some information from our guests, so with some email addresses and some links. As we go through, as always, we're going to add that to the comment section below. So if you missed an email address, or if you've missed a website that someone's referring to, that's going to be in the comment section below, so you can find that easily after. We also really want to make this an interactive session. So if, as we're going through, you have a question or something comes to mind, or something that you would want to ask while we have all of these brilliant minds in one place, please feel free to add that into the comment section. We do have someone who will be watching that and will let us know if a comment or question comes in. So we will address any questions that come in at the end of the session. If you're watching this as a recorded session, watching it afterwards, we will be watching these comments for the next day or two, just to make sure that we don't miss anything. Please feel free to add it, and we will get back to you offline. Let's go through, and I'm going to introduce the folks that I have joining us today. Darby Briggs is the Community Engagement Coordinator at the PMFRC. Amy MacKenzie is the Special Needs Inclusion Programmer at the PMFRC, and she is the person who is running the Special Needs Family Forum this week. So she is our expert on this whole topic. And also we have Claudia Beswick, who is the Executive Director at the PMFRC. Claudia, we always start this off asking about our business resumption plan, how things are going at the PMFRC, what programs are open, and what's changed since last week. Do you have any updates for us?
Not really any significant changes since the last time we've had our fireside chat. We're continuing in our stage 3 of our resumption plan and working primarily from the virtual platform, as you can tell with all of the stuff that's going up on our Facebook page and YouTube and our special activities. So yeah, pretty much everything will stay virtual for the next little while. I would like to take the time though to highlight that we have our AGM. The date's been scheduled for Wednesday, the 18th of November. And again, because of the pandemic, we're going to host the AGM on a virtual platform through Zoom, similar to what you're seeing here today. More information will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. All of the documentation will be uploaded onto our website, so people can have a look at the agenda, and our bylaws will be reviewed. We have some new board members coming on. So this year's theme is Family Matters. And really, we just want to highlight and reflect on the importance of family, how military families can build a connection with their extended family and providing that network of support. And I think that's so important right now as we navigate all of these new changes because of the pandemic. So we welcome your voice and your participation. Hope that you can join us there, and there will be a process to register for the Zoom session when that comes out. So stay tuned. Next couple of weeks, you're going to hear more about that.
Perfect. Thank you, Claudia. So this is the 6th annual Special Needs Forum. Typically, we have a week where we have different days, where we have different programs and we share information. And then we typically all get together for one evening that we call our Special Needs Family Forum. Darby, as we've mentioned, it looks a little different this year. Do you want to talk about what we're doing this year and what the differences that people are going to notice?
Definitely, Julie. Well, as with all of our programs, we've had to move away from in-person events due to those continued health and safety precautions around COVID-19. But we know how important opportunities like the forum are for our families, so we wanted to ensure we were still providing them with the information and resources. So this year, the forum has gone virtual and has actually grown on this new platform, I think. Throughout this week, October 19th to 23rd, we'll be focusing on different resources available in the community. Each day is going to be tailored to a specific need for support, because everybody's got a little bit of a different need. So each day has a theme, including military families, children and youth, adults, parents and caregivers, and supports from the PMFRC in general. Although we miss that face-to-face interaction and conversation with our wonderful families, we know that this virtual format will allow more families to access the information. You don't need to worry about childcare, about the weather getting in the way, or any of those other things in life that come up that prevent us from attending our events. Families can visit the website, cafconnection.ca, to watch informational videos, search contacts, resources, and ask questions when it fits in their schedule. And if you don't get to check it out this week, don't worry. The forum will remain on the website as a resource that families can access anytime, anywhere.
I always find when I go to a lot of these in-person things, I'm going through and I may not tune in for a section because it doesn't really apply to me. But then a week or two later, I'm like, oh, what were they saying about that? So because all of this information is going to be archived, you can go back and take a second look and see if you can find it. And sometimes it's even somebody else asked you about it and you're like, I remember somebody talking about that. So now all that's going to be in one place for someone to look at.
Definitely.
Amy, Darby was talking about those themes and the theme days. Do you want to talk about a rundown of how it's going and what people can expect? I have a list that I'm going to put up on screen. So as you talk, they can see the outline of that.
Sure. So we wanted to provide information for everyone. So we tried to divide it into our theme days so that we could have a look at everything that's available locally and specifically what is interesting and is needed by your family. So on Monday's page, we talked about different resources for parents and caregivers specifically. So it could be local support groups for parents, peer support. It could be online groups, groups that are hosted by some of our community partners. And also we've included a list of websites that we have heard from families that are really helpful in terms of finding information for their children, and a link to the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario as well, and all the resources that they have there. So all of that was found on Monday's page. Tuesday is specific support for military families, and some of those supports also available to veteran families. So we've included, again, our local community partners. PSP recorded a great video for us. Chris Quigley, our family advocacy coordinator at the PMFRC, spoke about some of the supports that she provides to families. So all of that is available on the Tuesday page. Wednesday, today, we're talking about supports for children and youth. So again, local community partners, other businesses and websites, and any resources that we've come across and that families have told us have been really helpful for them to get supports for their child. Thursday is specific supports for adults. So we've had great video contributions from Community Living Upper Ottawa Valley and Be Successful Employment Services, as well as some of our other local partners, some website links there as well. And Friday, we will be getting to know different coordinators at the PMFRC and things that they can offer. So specifically, the Veteran Family Program Coordinator, Louise, will be sharing information. Children's Services will be talking about their inclusive children's programs, as well as PMFRC's employment services. And we have a very inclusive volunteer program at the PMFRC. So Sarah is going to share information on that as well.
So I have a couple of follow-up questions here. So you talked about Monday's page, Tuesday's page. It is not too late because it is Wednesday. If you are looking back and thinking that Monday's content would have been really helpful for me, it is not too late. So we are sharing a registration link underneath. So if you register for the program, is this going to be emailed to you? Amy, can you explain how that registration works?
Sure. So when you register for the 6th annual forum, you'll receive a link to register. So when you register, then the auto reply takes you right to the page. So it will take you to our welcome page with some information on the forum. And if you scroll down the page, you'll see a link to each specific day. So it will say Monday, parents and caregivers. You can click on that and that's available all week.
It's available all week, but then after we're going to move it so it's always going to be available, correct?
Right. So after this week and after we've had a chance to look at all the questions and provide some feedback to families and have another look at the information we provided, it will be available to everyone and it will be open on CAF Connection.
Because sometimes people are busy and we recognize that. And it's always been one of the limitations that we've had is there's never the perfect day that's going to serve everybody. So it doesn't really matter. You can pick it at the day that you want. So I just want to make sure that people know that when we talk about Monday and Tuesday content, they haven't missed that. There's still a way to go back. If they register, they can still look at that right away. So that link is going to be below if you wanted to take a look at that. We do a lot of special needs inclusion programs as part of our day-to-day stuff. We have our exceptional families. We have a lot of program in a boxes that we've been doing. And I'm going to ask this question to Darby because I think that I don't think that Amy's going to want to toot her own horn, but I think one of the real benefits and one of the real strengths of the special needs inclusion program is Amy and the expertise that she has. And the connections that she has in the community. Can you talk a little bit about that community connector role that Amy plays for families?
Definitely. We do offer some really wonderful programs throughout the year. The forum's one of the highlights, definitely. But one of the more valuable resources we have is Amy and her role as that community connector. She can work with your family to help you find the resources and community supports that fit your specific needs. If you're new to Petawawa or new to the Special Needs and Inclusion Program, Amy can help get you started. She's going to set you up with one of our fantastic All About Me binders. I think, Claudia, you have one there you can hold up to show everybody. Yep. This thing is fantastic. It's available in both English and French, and it'll help you keep track of everything in one place. If your family's posted out of Petawawa, we're definitely sad to see you go, but Amy can help you connect with the local contact at your new community and do sort of a warm handover so that you don't feel like you're starting all over again from scratch and that there's a familiar face there. Be sure to hold on to that All About Me binder when you're moving. It's definitely going to help when you get settled into your new home, have everything in one place. And just a reminder that families don't need an official diagnosis to access these programs. Just reach out to Amy anytime. She's your go-to, she's your resource. She's a wonderful community connection.
And I wanted to second that, just because every time I go to a forum and people ask questions, there's all sorts of issues that I wouldn't have even thought about. Amy and I were talking earlier this week about the idea of youth, and as they progress through the system and that transition from youth programs to adult programs, we have days for each. But I mean, those are the kinds of issues that sometimes when you get to a new phase, you weren't necessarily tracking, and Amy's gonna be able to sort of give you some tips and tricks and things that you may want to think about before you get to that stage, so you're not starting from scratch. And we'll be able to refer you to people that will be able to give you more detailed information or more specific information to your circumstances. So we've been saying this through all the fireside chats, is we always encourage people to reach out. If you don't have a diagnosis, or if you're not sure if you're eligible for the programs, we would encourage you to reach out and talk to Amy regardless. Don't not get the support because you're not sure if you're eligible. We would be happy to at least give you the information you need to get started, so at least you don't feel like you're alone and starting from scratch. Talking about the community connections and the partnerships, Claudia, partnerships are really important at the PMFRC. Do you want to talk a little bit about the partnerships, the partnership piece, and how families benefit from those partnerships?
Sure. The key to really supporting the modern military family, and that's the term that we're using lately, because military families look very different now. So in order to support that modern military family, it's definitely based on the relationships and the partnerships that we have both with our local and with our base resources. And fundamentally, that really just enhances what the MFRC can provide as it pertains to supports for families. So we know that the MFRC cannot provide every level of service that a family may need, but it is our job to work within the community to raise awareness about what the unique stressors are that military families are dealing with, and to develop that partnership and how we can all support our CAF community. We don't duplicate any of the services. We work with our service providers that already exist, and we essentially work with a lot of the local organizations to promote the services that are available, and then to connect the families and partner them together to add that additional level of support. And that's where, with what Darby and Julie were saying, is very instrumental in Amy's position. She does that, and we like to call them warm handovers, making sure that the families are not just left out there, but Amy is going to work with them and with the service partners. So it's really good. And our base and community partners are linked to our organization. We have a lot of the same values, drawing awareness of what the great services are that we all provide. So you often hear us say that no door is the wrong door. We'll facilitate that warm handover with families and who they would be referred to. And I think and Amy, you can correct me on this, but I think a lot of the local organizations that do support military families are very aware of our services, so they would reciprocate that as well. So in order for us to really be successful, we need to extend our reach and our impact. So we have a common goal, and that's to support the clients that we serve and our military community. So sustaining all of our various relationships and partnerships that really helps us explore new strategies and ways of doing things. And that's why you see some of our programs and activities that will change, within our quarters or from year to year. One of the examples of how we have done really great partnerships is with PSP and with the Sensory Swim. Working collaboratively together, our collective outcome to support the CAF community is really significant. There's no other program like it in the community. It was an ask. Amy did her research. We collaborated with PSP, and we have this phenomenal program that the families really enjoy. And it clearly shows the impact of the stressors and barriers that families are dealing with, and how that helps them in every little step really helps. So for events, also the special needs forum, as Darby and Amy alluded to, it's been really popular and it's been growing every year. I've been here since the first one with Amy, and it looks different now than it did from our first one. And very true that our partnerships with local organizations has really expanded. And it's really heartwarming to see at the end of the forum, when we would have them in person, how supported the families felt, because that one-on-one collaboration with these partners is critical to, it's really instrumental in getting the families integrated into the Petawawa community, and that's ultimately our goal. So Amy, I don't know, can you add a little bit more about what some of those local and base partners are that you're dealing with directly?
Sure. So in Pembroke, we have Family and Children Services, and within Family and Children Services, they have many departments that support children and adults. So we've included all their contact information on today's page, actually. So families are able to go and have a look at the services that they provide. So they've been a great contact for us. The PMFRC also sits on the Special Education Advisory Committee for our local public school board. So that's been another great partnership for me to learn what's happening within the schools from the board perspective. I'm also hearing that from families and from the school board to get some feedback from me as a community partner and as someone who's also in touch with families. So that's been another great partnership.
So we are going to share that information through the month, but we are also sharing underneath, we're sharing a link. We have a partnership with across the other provincial MFRCs, the SNP network, and they have their own Facebook page. So we're going to share that link below. So if you want to keep in touch of some of those programs that are available, maybe it's a program offered by an MFRC in an area where you don't live. One of the beauties of doing it this way is it doesn't matter. You can still join up with them. So we have that link below. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you can see the programs that Amy is delivering here in Petawawa. Last question for you, Amy. I hate the word new normal, and it's sort of grating on me now, because this is just what our lives are. And I think that a lot of families have experienced challenges that maybe they wouldn't have been expecting 6 months, 9 months ago. But if you are a family that is also dealing with a special need or an exceptional need, there are some additional challenges above that. Can you talk about some of the challenges that families are facing and some of the things that you're seeing in your role?
Sure. So for some families, keeping a routine is extremely important. It means the difference between a good day and a bad day. And all those little things that contribute to our day are often based around routines. So certainly when we didn't have school to go to, when we don't have sports and activities and community things and all those events, right? And all those things that we might try to do. Play dates, they're more difficult now because we can't. So definitely routines being interrupted has been a challenge for families. For some families too, they've chosen online learning this fall. And last spring, maybe they were participating in some sort of online learning. Some families have chosen to homeschool. Some are doing their best to participate in some way. Some are just getting through the day, and sometimes school has to take a bit of a backseat for a while. And as a family, we have to focus on our health, right? So that's a new normal as well for families. We are all doing our best, and we all have to make decisions for our family and figure out, a new routine and what that looks like. There's also fewer opportunities to connect in person with other families right now, and that sometimes is a struggle. When we're supporting our kids to develop social skills and relationships and make eye contact and make a friend, all those things are tough when there aren't as many opportunities to have a play date. Respite has been another challenge. We already struggle in Renfrew County with not a lot of respite providers. Definitely when we're all staying home and trying to limit our social circles, there aren't as many respite providers necessarily available. So that's absolutely been a challenge for families to get creative. We've been encouraging families to connect with one another and do their best with peer support to help each other out. And as a PMFRC, we've done our best too, just to share tips and tricks between us and between our SNP group provincially to help families out too. And our program in a box was also another way of reaching out to families. So when families are at home, we've been able to provide some fun activities that also have an educational component, so families can do that project together at home, since I can't currently offer programs in person.
I just want to circle back to one point that you made, and you talked about the fact that there's few opportunities for people to get together, and that was one of the things that families were really missing, the opportunity to teach their kids to develop those social skills. And I think in the world that we're in now, dealing with people online is a skill that I think we're all learning in a different way. Can you talk a little bit about the children's friendship training that you're offering? Because I think a lot of families would be interested in that.
Absolutely. So the children's friendship training, we have modified, and we've taken it to an online platform this year. So the children's friendship training came from the University of Southern California. It is a evidence-based program that's had a lot of support and studies done. A lot of research has gone into the program. And the idea is that we're supporting children to learn how to be a good friend. So what does that look like, and how we can encourage those relationships as a parent or caregiver. So the virtual version of children's friendship training, we're hoping to offer again this winter. And with that program, children will join via a platform like Zoom and get to meet other children. And any activities and games that we play in person, we've modified to have an online component. And most kids like video games and that screen time, right? So we work that in while still having that human connection with another child and practicing, being a good host on a play date and all those things, right? So we've tried to modify as much as we can to help work on those social skills while we are at home currently.
So we'll share information about that in the link. And if you want to reach out to Amy to get more details, that is available as well. Thank you all for joining us. If anybody has any questions that come up about special needs inclusion programs that they want to add to the comments, we will be keeping an eye on those going forward. We would encourage you to get that link to the daily programs that are going on this week delivered right to your email. So you'll have that link and you'll be able to see that content as it goes up. Claudia, before we close, is there something that you'd like to say?
Sure. So tomorrow actually is the 20th Early Childhood Educator Day, I believe. Is that the proper?
Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day.
Appreciation Day. So 20 years, and we have a very large educator team. Very proud of Sue and her team. It really takes an exceptional group of dedicated people that make our childcare programs and the daycares the success that they are. Their passion to really nurture and mold these little minds of the future is really commendable, and they do an amazing job every day. We've talked a lot on these fireside chats about all the new processes and what everybody has to do in light of the pandemic with the screening and the sanitizing, and you can just imagine what level that is at in the daycare program. So they've been doing an exceptional job when it comes to prioritizing the health and safety of the children in their care. And it's made such an extraordinary impact, not just for the families, but also for the little ones. So, they've done an amazing job, and kudos to them. And tomorrow is the Appreciation Day. So if you are a parent with a child in one of our daycares, please give them a shout out tomorrow. They deserve it.
Perfect. Thank you all for joining us. We are back next week with another fireside chat. Earlier this month, we were talking about Healthy Relationship Month, and we are going to go back to that next week just to close it up. We have some additional people joining us to talk about different elements, so we would love to have you join us for that. In the meantime, we hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us for this session, and we hope that you will take advantage of some of those resources that we are sharing for our Special Needs Forum online. Thanks. Have a great day.